We have a veteran that's going to be traveling with us in spirit. We want to all let you know that we're going to be honoring him today and escorting him to his memorial, which is the World War II Memorial. This is Major Matthew Lightsey. Major Lightsey joined the Army at age 16 in 1942. He is a veteran of World War II and Korea. He retired with honors in 1965 at the rank of E7 Sergeant First Class after 23 years of faithful service. Major Lightsey was born in Patterson, Georgia, and he flew for the original Army Air Corps, which became the United States Army Air Force, prior to being a new branch of the service, the Air Force. So we want to recognize Major Lightsey, let you all know that he's traveling with us today in spirit. He's part of the honor and one of our guests today. And he also happens to be the granddad of our guest photographer today, Danny Morrison.
Mark, I'm your captain here today. Jim's up front with me. I was 22 years Air Force, 21 in the Navy. Welcome aboard to all the veterans especially. Thank you for your service.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. Look here. Coming in. Look at the rainbow. I saw that. Look at the rainbow. Look at the rainbow. Oh, you're good. Nice, boy. Good job.
All right. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. Tap on that, baby. Touch it.
Love it. Yep.
So the reason for the vehicle. There we go. That's it. Officer Murphy advised me, that's our front.
Give her a tip.
Yes. So on our trip today, just remember we got 3 veterans of World War II. Our oldest veteran is 99 years old. We have 7 veterans that served in Korea. Some of you in multiple wars, so Korea, Cold War and/or Vietnam, and 14 veterans that served in Cold War and Vietnam era. You've served in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Marines. The only thing we don't have today is we have nobody with us from the Coast Guard today. So
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I am Sergeant Hammond of the 3rd Infantry Regiment, United States Army. Guard of Honor, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The ceremony that you are about to witness is the changing of the guard. In keeping with the dignity of this ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and standing.
Is Orlando still? I'm still in Orlando. Places like that, sir? Yeah. Yes.
Thanks for coming
out. All right. Thanks for coming out. I think we all have. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Everybody has a different. Oh, Marine. Yes, we all have different.
Yeah, the South Florida, Southeast Florida. For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We all wear the same color blue. We do what we do 'cause we know it's true. From the planes we fly up in the sky to the boots on the ground, we know why. We stand together on freedom's right. Brothers and sisters, you can never divide. Like Billy Mitchell, we'll be standing tall.
Distinguished Flying Cross is the red, white, and blue one, and that Combat Action Medal is the other one. And this is the Vietnam one over here on this side.
Welcome home.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And it's amazing now. Everybody you see, you have a uniform on, you go to a meeting or anything, you know you're a veteran. Welcome home. Welcome home.
Good.
And it still kind of gets you right there.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You were all treated very poorly when you came home, and I'm glad that some Americans are
Yep.
kind of making up for that a little bit.
They are.
You know.
Women warriors are always near. Making history, we raise the bar. Kinda like Cap Arnold wearing 5 stars. So listen close to what I say. It's the
Good. Thank you.
We'll fight for freedom, yeah. Oh, yeah.
My name is David Fletcher. I enlisted out of high school, and I had the fortunate experience of becoming a crew member on the Global Peacemaker, which was the RB-36, the last and largest piston-driven plane ever built. 6 engines and 4 jets. And I was one of 5 electronic countermeasures operators on this plane. And our job was to find the anti-aircraft that's locked in on us as we go over on bombing raids, and then jam them. But my brother Troy, it's my sponsor, he's the one who talked me into coming on the trip. And he said, I told him I didn't have any business going on a trip like this, and he said everybody feels that way. So I agreed to come, and I'm so glad I did. This has been wonderful. Everybody here is just, the staff and everything that happens here is just right. And there's a sensitivity here that's so needed for guys like others that have seen a lot worse than I have, that are in this room right now watching this. They've needed a trip like this just like we have.
My name is Carl Galasso, and I was in the Marines and the Navy. I spent 3 years in the Marines as enlisted as a radio operator for a grunt outfit during Vietnam. And then 10 years later, I ended up in the Navy as going through the flight program for the Navy. Spent 9 years in the Navy as a naval flight officer and intelligence officer. So I got out with 12 years in. A little bit sorry to get out, but it was the right decision at the time. And I'm really glad that I'm here. This is wonderful. It's really cool that you guys do this. Thank you.
Hey, Bob Mahon. I was 77. I was in the United States Navy during the Vietnam era. Served on a new supercarrier and the West. Started out on the East Coast, built in New York, and was transferred to San Diego, and from there out west and stayed in that general vicinity as Vietnam escalated, and then took my separation and came home.
Okay, my name is Raymond Batchelor. I'm a ex-Marine, but always a Marine. I've enjoyed this trip up here to the DC, and I hope that you can bring many more to see it. It's worth the while.
My name is Ron Boughton. I served in Vietnam, 67, 68, and a little bit of 69 with the 1st Cavalry Division in the Central Highlands. And we're on the honor flight today, and it's hot. There ever was.
Did you get the best guardian?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
And what's your guardian's name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Hello.
I'm Jerry Baranek, U.S. Air Force, Vietnam War, served in mostly Thailand, Korea, and Japan. My guardian is my son-in-law. His name is
Sean.
We are really enjoying this day today, the whole day.
Okay. My name is William Greninger. I was in the U.S. Navy as CB. Served in Vietnam. I'm 70 years old. I'm honored to be on this flight. This is probably the second best day of my life. The first one being getting married to my wife. And I didn't think anything could top the day. We got on the plane and headed home. And then when mail call showed up, that just icing on the cake.
I'm Jerry Rozecki. I served in Vietnam. I'm 71 years old, and this trip was totally awesome. There's things that I've seen that I haven't seen before, and it was a pleasure to be on this flight.
Hi, this is Todd Dixon, and I just went through one of the most emotional and entertaining and educational days I've had in a long time. And the crowning blow to top it off was this item right here. It brought home all the emotions of family members and members we have not even met. Again, a wonderful, fantastic day. I was in the Air Force. I was a fighter pilot for 24 years. Oh, it's just trivia I picked up along the way: Distinguished Flying Cross, Combat Medal, Combat Action Medal, and Vietnam Medal. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Roy Vinson, 72 and a half years old. Served in Vietnam in 69 and 70. I was in Chu Lai and Phu Bai, which is in the northern I Corps. I was a 92B-20 laboratory technician. Uncle Sam gave me the GI Bill when I got out of school, and I went back and got a bachelor's and a master's, which really helped me in life. Thank you very much.
It's been a fabulous day here in Washington, and I want to thank all the honor flight personnel for making this trip a dream come true.
This is Captain Hutchison. I was a gunnery sergeant in Vietnam, and I served with 3rd Battalion, 3rd Marines, and the 3rd Marine Division up on the DMZ, 1967 and 1968. And I want to thank all the servicemen that served our country.
Thank you.
Okay, the name is Steve Summers. I served in Vietnam from 1970 and 71. Really liked this tour. This was impressive. Too bad you can only do it once.
I'm Herbert Weiss, and I served in the U.S. Air Force in civil engineering, and ended up in Vietnam in 67, 68, and was in Bien Hoa and Cam Ranh Bay, building new buildings for the air bases. I had a close high school friend killed in Vietnam, and went to the memorial today, and we did an etching of his name, Blakely Davis, and it was quite a moving experience for me to see that memorial and to appreciate what all of these guys did for our country, and it was a moving experience.
I'm Billy Saunders. I'm 99 years old. I served from 42 to 45 in the WACs. And this has been a super trip. I never dreamed it would be so perfect. And I thank everybody for it.
To the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. the sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.